Shalom, shalom. Before I get started, as always, I want to give all praise unto our power, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations and blessings to the hopeful elect that are scattered throughout the four winds of the earth, that believe wholeheartedly in the true doctrine that is being pushed throughout the four winds of the earth, who are in hope of mercy and salvation in these last seconds of these last days of Esau, Edom's rule on the planet Earth. All right. This video here will be I got 3 videos that I want to play so you can hear. This video here is from it's dealing with the tariffs and the trade wars that are happening right now as we speak. This one here is from Democracy Now. Dealing with the tariffs and how Trump, or they want, Trump's tariffs wants to bring companies back to the U.S., but these same companies and unions don't want to bring them back because of the health care. All right, this is why they're in Canada, because of the free health care. Okay, this one here, this man goes by the name of Lawrence Wong. He's a prime minister of Singapore, and I watched this video a couple of times, and I got a few points I want to show in here. All right, and then I have this video the Elder Malcolm did. This was a great video, and I want to play this segment he plays here towards the end. All right, with what's happening. All right, and the reason I'm starting with these two first is because the world, to them, they see the empire of America falling. They see these tariffs are going to, what it's really doing is uniting the rest of the world against the U.S. And, what they don't understand is the biblical aspect of it. All right. Because this is the Babylon who ought to be destroyed. All right. This is that place. Okay. And this is why I'm saving what Elder Malcolm has here for last, because what's said here in this segment that he plays is the elite bankers, they're done with this place, and this is why they've pulled the plug on it. All right, and this is why the rest of the world is uniting against it. All right, and this is what's going to bring in the MOTB system, which is the RFID technology. All right, that's going to govern his pseudo kingdom, if he was able to get it off the ground, all right, and up and running, with people chipped and things of that nature, which that's not going to happen, all right. That won't happen. It's not written, all right. The Lord is going to destroy this place while he is eating, all right, while he's in the process of establishing it, and he's on go mode, and we see that this could very well be the year, as Elder Malcolm has said in this video, that, what we've been prophesying is full-fledged in the streets, in your face. You can't deny it, all right? This could very well be the year that RFID micro C-HIP is mandated, which is the MOTB, all right? The marker of the BEAST, all right? This is the time we're living in, all right? So without any further ado, I'm gonna play this video first, all right, just so you can hear, these Edomites on these tariffs, and which they know some on an economic level, but they don't know that this is that place who ought to be destroyed.
UAW President Shawn Fain speaking on ABC's This Week.
Look,
We're in a crisis mode in this country. You know, there is no single issue in this country that has affected our economy and working class people and their jobs than NAFTA, the USMCA, and our trade laws, our broken trade system. And we're in a crisis mode. And, you know, we are triaging right now. So I hear this debate about, you know, blanket tariffs and all this stuff. But look, we're in a triage situation. Tariffs are an attempt to stop the bleeding from the hemorrhaging of jobs in America for the last 33 years. So, you know, and as we speak right now, I mean, decisions are still being made. Warren Truck Plant right here in Michigan, there's over 2,000 people laid off. And a simple decision, Stellantis is shifting truck production to Mexico. They could change overnight and move those trucks right back here to Warren, Michigan, and put people back to work. You know, you have Deere workers in Racine, Wisconsin. We have Mack truck workers in Allentown, Pennsylvania, where the companies saying are going to move their jobs to Mexico. So tariffs aren't the end solution, but they are a huge factor in creating and fixing this problem.
And you won't be able to fix the problem in America. As a matter of fact, let's get that in Isaiah 47. All right, take bomb for her. All right. You won't be able to fix what's happening in America. All right. Jeremiah 51, verse 8. All right. It says, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so be she may be healed. All right, and that's what Trump is trying to do with these tariffs. He's trying to heal America. This is why he's putting that 25% tax on all companies that have left Babylon. All right, and not just the companies that have left Babylon. All right, which that's majority of what it is. But these same countries, all right, play a major part in world economics, all right? China, Mexico, all right, Canada. And this is why Babylon will be singled out and will be destroyed, all right? This is one of the reasons why, okay? Verse 9, it says, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed, all right? There's no healing this place. It's over. All right, the elite have pulled the plug, and this place will continue to go down every day that passes by until Yahushua returns and totally decimates this place. Okay, forsake her and let us go, everyone into his own country. And this is what's happening right now. And I'm going to show you this with this Prime Minister from Singapore, Lawrence Wong. What he says, all right, which I'm not going to play the whole 23 minutes, but, you know, they basically, and this video here, when you watch it from the beginning, all right, they speaking about how the world is coming against America, all right, and these people are basically, you know, they're going to look out for their own countries, all right. As it says, and let us go everyone into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. All right. And the world is starting to see it. The world is starting to see that, especially with DJT in the office, America's it's over with. And they're going to align themselves with like-minded countries, all right, to come against Babylon. All right, let me play a little bit more.
So that's the UAW president.
And you see, he don't know what the hell he talking about. Let's listen.
Dave Lindorf, if you can respond to that. And also, we go ahead.
He's not addressing the issue because he knows that the reason that the industry moved construction into Canada is because of healthcare costs. I mean, that was stated by their executives, and the unions are not good on this because they actually, the leadership of the unions actually like having, especially when they're strong, like to be able to point to the healthcare benefits that they've negotiated. But those are coming off of the pay of the workers, because even if it's partly paid by the company could be paying wages instead of insurance premiums to private insurance companies. So it's really a compromised situation for the leadership in unions. They should be supporting state-funded health care so that they can focus on working conditions and better incomes and not on this other stuff. So
which showed you that this place is totally divided on all levels. All right? It's totally divided on all levels. The CEOs of the companies are like, no, we sending the money or we sending the business for cheaper labor and the healthcare costs. All right? Because we know Canada, they have free healthcare up there. All right? Now, let's go to this next video. All right? And let's listen to what my man Lawrence Wong got to say. I'm going to play a few minutes up front, and then I'm going to jump to about 7.5, and then I'm going to jump to about the 19-minute mark.
Mr. Speaker, we have known for some time that the world is in flux. The familiar signposts are fading, but the contours of a new global system have yet to take shape.
A new global system have yet to take shape. All right, what's the new global system going to be? That's right. It's going to be the technocracy beast system governed by the RFID micro CHIP, the MOTB. All right, this is what's happening around the world. Okay? This is what's going to happen. The new system is going to be a digital one.
So we are in a period of transition, uncertain, unsettled, and increasingly unstable. The recent Liberation Day tariff announcements by the US confirms this stark reality. The era of rules-based globalization and free trade is over. This marks a profound turning point. We are entering a new phase in global affairs. One that is more arbitrary, protectionist, and dangerous.
One that is more arbitrary, protectionist, and dangerous. Like we just read in Jeremiah 51. Everyone shall flee to his own country when it comes to these global economics that's happening. Okay? And he speaks more about that as well.
For nearly 80 years since the end of World War II, America was the anchor for the free market economies of the world. It championed free trade and open markets and led efforts to build a multilateral trading system. This WTO system ushered in decades of global growth and stability. It allowed trade to flourish and lifted millions out of poverty. It benefited the world and contributed to America's own economic strength.
Salakia for these damn commercials. Everybody monetized.
The hurricane went through. And objectively, America continues to enjoy unrivaled economic heft. In fact, the US rebounded more quickly than other advanced economies from the COVID pandemic. It has surged ahead of all its major competitors in the advanced industrial world. But not all Americans feel this way about their economy. There are hollowed out towns in what was once America.
Yeah, because the only ones who profited over the CV Uno Nueva crisis was the billionaires, all right? The billionaires were the only ones that profited, all right? And that's what he's speaking of.
This thriving industrial belt. There are workers whose jobs have disappeared and whose incomes have stagnated. They believe that the American economy is fundamentally broken. Discontent was already visible in the 1990s when protesters disrupted the WTO meeting in Seattle. Frustrations deepened following the global financial crisis of 2008 and more recently after the COVID pandemic. To be clear, the global economic system is in need of reform. Singapore and many others have called for changes, and we have been working with like-minded countries and partners at the WTO to reform its processes. A key concern in America is China. The sense that the US had given away too much in allowing China to join the WTO, and that China competes on an unfair basis, for example, by heavily subsidizing its own companies, putting up non-tariff barriers, and restricting market access to US firms.
Right. They basically counter the U.S. But let's fast forward it. All right. I don't want to keep you too long. And plus, I'll put these links in the description box. We'll start here. All right. We'll start about here.
And exceptions to the MFN rule, for example, to allow free trade agreements. But MFN has long been the bedrock.
He's basically speaking about stepping away from stepping away from what America's trying to do and to take care of his country. All right, that's what he's speaking about, and he's gonna speak more when you watch the whole video, that they're gonna partner with other countries who have the same interests as them, so that they don't take the brunt of what this orange man, this maniac, is doing in office.
Of the multilateral trading system. It ensures a level playing field, prevents discrimination, and enables countries, big or small, to compete fairly in global markets. This has helped to liberalize trade amongst more than 100 WTO members, each with different economic and political and social concerns. America's new tariff regime is a complete repudiation of the MFN principle. It opens the door to selective country-by-country trade relations based on unilateral preferences. If other countries adopt the same approach as the US, the rules-based trading system will unravel. This will spell trouble for all nations, but smaller countries like Singapore will face greater pressures, because small countries have limited bargaining power in one-on-one bilateral negotiations. So the major powers will dictate the terms, and we risk being marginalized and sidelined. Second, the likelihood of a full-blown global trade war is growing. Singapore has decided not to impose retaliatory tariffs. Doing so will only lead to increased costs for Singaporeans. But other countries may not be guided by the same considerations and may have different perceptions and views. China has already imposed retaliatory tariffs on US goods. Others, like the European Union, are considering their next steps. Some think that the new tariffs are a negotiating tactic, a negotiating tool by the US to extract concessions in other areas. This was what President Richard Nixon did in 1971. He slapped a 10% surcharge on imports to pressure Germany and Japan to devalue their currencies, and when they did, the tariffs came off. Indeed, there is a brief window for countries to negotiate and get some reprieve from the US before the higher tariffs take effect. And it may be possible for some rates to be lowered. But we have to be realistic. Once trade barriers go up, they tend to stay up. Rolling them back is much harder, even after the original rationale no longer applies. Even if some partial accommodations are eventually worked out, the uncertainty generated by such a drastic move will dampen global confidence and growth. It will be very hard to restore the previous status quo. And in particular, it doesn't look like the 10% universal rate is open for negotiation. This seems to be the fixed minimum tariff, regardless of a country's trade balance or existing trade arrangements. Furthermore, there are other forces that could maintain the momentum for tariffs. In particular, many European countries are eager to protect their critical industries like electric.
You see, everybody gonna look out for self. all right? And America is going to be the isolated one, okay? It's all written this way, all right? And all these nations is going to burn this place with fire. In particular, like he's mentioned, the EU nations, all right?
Vehicles, green technologies, and semiconductors from Chinese competition. They do not want to be a dumping ground for exports from China or other countries. There is also a growing push across the West to strengthen their domestic manufacturing capabilities and to reduce dependence on global supply chains, especially in strategic industries.
Like we was talking about earlier, all those different companies that left America and went to these different countries for free or for cheaper labor, okay? Cheaper labor and the health care for the workers, okay?
So this round of tariff increases by the US may just be the beginning of more increases to come globally. And we've seen this play out before. The US enacted sweeping tariff increases through the Smoot-Hawley Act in 1930.
And what major event happened in 1930s? The Great Depression, hyperinflation. And this is what's coming to Babylon the Great. Hyperinflation is coming to Babylon the Great. Let's get that in 1 Kings 6, or is it 2 Kings? Yeah, 2 Kings 6. Let me get that real quick. 2 Kings 6 and 24, all right? This was hyperinflation in the land of Samaria, okay? And this is going to be hyperinflation in Babylon the Great by what's happening. And Trump even said that a few weeks ago. He said the tariffs, there will be some pain, but in the long run, America will be great again. What do you mean there will be some pain? The pain meaning the pain is going to come to the American people, the consumers, all right? When you go to the gas station, when you go to the grocery store, when you go to the electronics store, all right, wherever, okay, prices are going to skyrocket, all right? 1 Kings 6:24, and it came to pass after this that Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, gathered all his host and went up and besieged Samaria, all right? And there was a great famine in Samaria, and behold, they besieged it. And America's going to be besieged off too. All these cities, watch, it's coming to where they're going to be besieged, okay? It says, until an ass's head was sold for 80 pieces of silver, and the fourth part of a cab of dove's dung for 5 pieces of silver. Hyperinflation, because there was nothing else, okay? And he's speaking about the Great Depression. Going back during the time of the Great Depression, people were wheelbarrowing coins just to buy bread, okay? Let me back it up just a little bit so we can get that full.
The U.S. enacted sweeping tariff increases through the Smoot-Hawley Act in 1930. Many countries protested and a number retaliated with their own trade restrictions and tariffs. This deepened and extended the Great Depression.
And then later on, he's going to talk about a recession. There will be no recession. It's going to go directly into depression, all right? Babylon's been in a recession since 2008, okay?
In ways, today's risk may be greater. The new U.S. tariffs, if fully enacted, are higher than the ones in Smoot-Hawley. Trade is now a much bigger part of the American and global economy compared to the 1930s. Supply chains are also more deeply connected than they were back then. Any disruption to trade flows will have wider knock-on effects on the world.
Meaning a far greater depression. That's basically what he said. Any effects on trade will have a greater effect on the rest of the world. And this is what's happening. All right, the rest of the world sees it coming. This is why those EU nations are telling their people to stock up 72 hours worth of food and water, possibly more, because they all see it coming. But how many of the officials of the U.S. have come on and told Americans to prepare? Not one. All right, because this is the great confusion. This is Babylon the Great, city of confusion, man. All right. Now I'm gonna jump it up here to this part.
You've purchased a faulty car in California?
And you know, just to speed through this, and like I said, I'm gonna place these links in the description box.
In this new environment, Singapore must redouble our efforts to remain a key node in global flows and a trusted business hub. We will forge closer links with like-minded partners.
You see that? He's speaking about not even worrying about what Babylon is doing, but get connected with like-minded countries that's ready to say to hell with the dollar. All right? That's what's happening, man. All these countries are straight up through with Babylon the Great, which ultimately is the will of the Most High, singling this place out and setting it up so he can destroy it. Okay?
Who share our commitment to open and free trade. The U.S. may have decided to turn protectionist, but the rest of the world does not have to follow the same path.
See that? It's over with. It is over with. All right? And all the nations around the world are on what he's on. All right? Here it is. They're a smaller nation, and they getting hit with tariffs. Okay? Just a little bit more, and then we'll go get a couple of scriptures, and I got that last one.
We will identify other partners to join us and work around this to ensure resilience and maintain critical parts of the multilateral system while laying the foundations for a possible new and different global system that can be achievable later.
That's it. I mean, I'll place the link in the description box where you can watch the whole video. But these countries are saying to hell with Babylon the Great. And what the hell DJT is talking about. That's what they're saying. Let me subscribe to this channel. This, you know, damn near 8 million subscribers. You know, this is an international news channel. All right. Now from here, let's get a couple of scriptures in before we bring in that last clip from Elder Malcolm's video. We're gonna go to Isaiah the 10th chapter. All right. Let's go to 12th verse, dealing with Assyria. Okay. Because the pride of America, this Assyria is modern day of Babylon. All right. The pride of this place is basically finna get it wiped out. Okay? That's what's getting ready to happen. The pride of this place is getting ready to get this place wiped out, man. All right? Because their pride is getting all these other nations, including their allies, to say to hell with them. All right? Isaiah 10 and 12. Wherefore shall it come to pass that when the Lord hath performed this whole work upon Mount Zion and on Jerusalem, I will punish the fruit of the stout heart of the king of Assyria, which is Esau Edom, in this time. All right? And the glory of his high looks. So what's getting ready to happen is that this man is getting ready to be punished. All right? He think he gonna establish this New World Order, but really he's about to be punished. All right? He's about to be punished while he's being proud. All right? Verse 13, for he saith, by the strength of my hand I have done it. Make America great again. All right? America first. All this madness. and by wisdom, for I am prudent, and I have removed the bounds of the people. Now you heard Lawrence Wong say for 80 years, America has had the ball in their court on an world economic standpoint since World War II. But that's no longer the case, all right? Because these nations are saying, shit, we ain't got to deal with you. We could just say the hell with your dollar, and we could, like he said, find like-minded partners, okay? And the like-minded partner is the BRICS nations, all right? It says, and have robbed their treasures. So it says, I'm going to start from the top. For he saith, by the strength of my hand I have done it, and by wisdom, for I am prudent, and I have removed the bounds of the people, and have robbed their treasures, and I have put down the inhabitants like a valiant man. And that's what this man has done, all right? He's basically made nations poor due to his policy and his fake-ass money, all right? It says, and my hand have found as a nest the riches of the people, and as one gathereth eggs that are left, have I gathered all the earth, and there was none that moved the wing or opened the mouth or peeped. At one point, it was like that for America, all right? It was like that. But now these nations are saying, look, that day is done, okay? That day is over with. We no longer going to, be at your feet and do whatever the hell you say. You want to throw tariffs? We're going to counter your tariffs. All right? This is what's happening. Okay? Yeah, that's pretty much it in here. All right? Now, let me get a couple more. Let's go to the book of Daniel, the 7th chapter. Okay? Because this place, America, these Babylonians whose look were more stout than their fellows, it's over. All right? Daniel 7:20. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, all right? This is talking about America right here. Even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows, all right? And this is Babylon, all right? The pride of America is being shown, and it's even more proud than his fellows. Who is his fellows? The 10 horns, all right? The EU nations, okay? So that pride is getting ready to get them taken all the way out, okay? And Trump is the perfect man in there to bring this thing to pass as he's doing. Job 40, verse 11 and 12, it says, cast abroad the rage of thy wrath, and behold everyone that is proud, and abase him. And this is what's happening. This was getting ready to come to Esau, Edom, all right? But his beast system, all right, his tip of the spear, America, is going to be destroyed, all right? And this is how he will be abased, okay? Verse 12, look on everyone that is proud and bring him low, and tread down the wicked in their place. And we're seeing the beginnings of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai treading down the wicked, all right? Okay, we're seeing that. And I got one more, all right, after we listen to this. Okay, here, the Elder Malcolm, this little clip he posts here. It's about a minute and some change. And then I got one more scripture in the book of Zephaniah, and that'll be it.
You think you're watching a crisis, but you're watching them execute a blueprint. The protests, the economic collapse, the instability, none of it is accidental. None of it is unpredictable. The economy's in freefall. Cities are erupting.
the new systems. Don't need a middle, because there will be rich and poor. There will be those that have the MOTB and those that control those who have the MOTB. That's what their plan is. All right?
Voters. It needs obedience, it needs order, and it needs a new structure to guarantee both. The nostalgic America we...
The new structure that it needs to guarantee both is the RFID technology. Revelation 13, verses 16 through 18. All right? We know the scripture. That's the structure that these elite bankers want. This is a controlled burn of America. What Trump is doing is all a part of the script. All right? And some of these other nations don't know. But by what he's doing, it's causing them to pull away from doing business with America, which is all a part of the plan of the elite bankers to isolate this place, all right, and bring holy hell to it. The plug has been pulled on it.
Romanticized is over. This isn't collapse. This is extraction. They're not letting America fall. They're bringing it down deliberately, strategically, on schedule. America has served its purpose. It built the capital. It trained the workers. It fed the machine. The goal was never patriotism. It was never liberty. It was scale. It was access. It was control. They don't want America to lead the world. They don't want anyone to lead except them, the unelected, the unaccountable, the untouchable. You think this is the end, but to them, this is rollout day.
Yep, the unelected.
Right, the elite bankers. All right? This is them bringing down the system that they had erected by means of left hand help from Satan. And they're using them same left hand help to bring in this new digital system, all right, which is going to crash the world's economy, okay, and usher in, as Elder Malcolm has here in his video, the MOTB. So with that, I'm going to get this last scripture in the book of Zephaniah, and we're going to close it out. Zephaniah 1, we're going to start at verse 11. Okay? How are ye inhabitants of Maktesh? All right? Maktesh was an ancient Wall Street type city. All right? Your money exchange. All right? For all the merchant people are cut down. What does that mean? What is a merchant? Let's look that up. Do I got Hedgemony? Yeah, let's get that. Okay? Remember in the book of Revelation, it tells you the merchants of the sea are going to mourn, all right? All the merchants are cut off, right? One engaged in the business of buying commercial commodities and selling them again for profit, all right? So here we are. We see all the nations, they tripping, they bugging out because of this trade war that's looming, all right? So going back, Zephaniah 1 and 12. Oh, I'm sorry, 1 and 11. For all the merchant people are cut down. There will be no more trade very soon. The world economic frame will be totally destroyed, and then they're going to emerge with the MOTB as the solution. That's what's getting ready to happen. All right. It says all they that bear silver are cut off. All right. It ain't gonna be no physical money exchanges. Everything is going digital. And it shall come to pass at that time that I will search Jerusalem with candles, and the Lord is doing that now amongst Israel. You got Jake bugging the fuck out. All right. You know, getting the boot. All right, getting kicked out because of nigger behavior and all type of shit. Because you were settled on your lease. You ain't seeing what time you living in. All right. So it says, and it shall come to pass at that time that I will search Jerusalem with candles and punish the men that are settled on their lees, that say in their heart, the Lord will not do evil. Shalaki, the Lord will not do good, neither will he do evil. And that's these niggas out here that was amongst us, these other camps, all right? You don't think the Lord is going to do something when the Lord is showing you he doing everything that the scripture said he was going to do. And you being a whole goddamn demon. All right? So the Lord is killing everything with one stone. Okay? Verse 13. Therefore their goods shall become a booty, and their houses a desolation. They shall also build houses, but not inhabit them. And they shall plant vineyards, but not drink the wine thereof. The great day of the Lord is near. It is near, and hasteth greatly. Even the voice of the day of the Lord, the mighty man shall cry there bitterly. All right? And we see that the day of the Lord is, man, it's so close. Okay? Once these, as time goes on and we really start to feel the brunt of these tariffs, it's going to get real bitter out here, man. All right? It says that day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress. And most people are in distress because of financial, what's the word they're using? Financial burdens. You know, most Americans are financially burdened here in Babylon, man. Okay? And it's people are, in a state of distress, and it's going to keep getting worse and worse. All right? It says, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness, a day of the trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers. And I will bring distress upon men, that they shall walk like blind men. All right? Meaning you ain't going to know what's going on. All right? You got Israelites that's walking around like they blind, like they don't know what the hell's going on. So the average man ain't gonna know what the hell's going on when it all goes down. When this economy finally crashes, the world economy finally crashes, the famine hits, the war in the streets here in Babylon. All right, that's gonna bring distress upon men. Okay, because they have sinned against the Lord. And their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as the dung. Meaning, many, with all this culminating and getting ready to spill out of the pot, boiling together and getting ready to topple over into society, it's going to cause 2nd Ezra 15 to come into play. It's going to cause 2nd Ezra 16 to come into play. It's going to cause everything that is written to happen. Because when people lose it, when you lose everything, you lose it, man. Okay? It's going to come a day where people are going to try to check them bank accounts and you won't be able to log in. All that money you left in the bank is going to be zeroed out. Not there no more. Okay? Verse 18. Neither their silver nor their gold, meaning money ain't going to save you in these times. All right? Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath. All right? But the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy, for he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land, beginning with Esau, Edom, and 2/3 of the nation of Israel here in America. Your destruction is going to come by way of nuclear fire. All right? Nuclear fire upon all proud Edomites and 2/3 of you Israelites that follow this man, all right, and think that his way is the way. When it's not, the Lord is getting ready to take this man out. And we seeing it. All right? We seeing this thing go down. It's about to go down. This could very well be the year that we get delivered out of Babylon, man. So I'm going to leave it there. Lord will, this was edifying to the hopeful elect. Like I said, I'll place these links in the description box for you to check them out. And we on to the next video. Call halal, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Shalom.